I'm back in France to take on the Tour de Mont Blanc for a second time. Last year I set myself a goal of taking on the world's toughest one-day bike event, what turned out to be the most epic battle. 330 kilometers, 8,000 meters of ascent through 3 different countries. It was a goal that I'd had for 6 or 7 months. It's something I'd built towards, but ultimately on the day, the mountains got the better of me. But the goal didn't end there. I might not have achieved it at the first time of asking, but I've come back to take another shot. And now, a year on, I'm stronger of mind, stronger of body, and I'm better equipped. I went away and I said I have one of 2 choices here. One is I say I wasn't good enough and I just leave it at that. Or 2 is I say I wasn't good enough at that moment in time and I recommit to coming back and giving this another shot. And I'm coming back stronger, I'm coming back better, and I am going to finish the ride this time. I had to sacrifice so much over the last 12 months. I wasn't going to be defeated this year. And I knew that to cross that finish line was going to take a huge effort. And it was just an outpouring of emotion, really. I've invested so much time and effort into this. I was of the belief that if you give your absolute everything in a challenge or in a goal and you lay it all on the line and you don't achieve what you set out to do, then that's not a failure. It just means at that moment in time you weren't good enough to achieve that. And that means that we can go away and we can work on becoming stronger and we can become better people and become more equipped to come back and take on a challenge again in the future. As with any big goal, you need to break it down into smaller sections, and that's exactly what I've been doing in my mind over the past week, the past month, the past year. And the first thing you need to do is picture where you want to be at the end of the goal. And for me, that is at the top of the final climb, over the finish line, having completed this race. And now I have to break it back from there and to break it down into smaller sections that are more manageable for your mind, because sometimes when you look at a huge challenge, a huge goal, it's hard to picture yourself at the end of it straight away. So I need to work backwards. This is 330 kilometers, that's over 200 miles of non-stop cycling. So for me, it's about one small step at a time. So when I leave here at 5 o'clock in the morning at the start, it's about the next hour, the next 2 hours. Then it's getting to the bottom of the first climb. It's getting to the top of the first climb. And what happens is, as you slowly tick off these smaller minor goals, you build your confidence, you build your belief, and you're getting closer to that end goal all the time, whilst focusing on small baby steps. With any great goal that you take on, it's incredibly important to understand that you need a support network around you in order to achieve it. The greatest goals we see achieved aren't achieved by one person, but it would not have been possible without the love and support of all of those around me.
It's important that I fully support him, I'm fully behind him, and he knows that no matter what he wants to do, whether it's waking up at 5 in the morning to go on a 6-hour ride, he's happy to do that, and I'm happy for him to do that. Very glad that Marcus wants to embark on these mad challenges, and I'm going to be behind him all the way.
For me, that final 200 or 300 metres was an incredible experience. I knew I was getting to the finish, and I'd visualised that moment over and over again this past year, what it would feel like, what it would look like. There's a big orange archway, it had started to get dark, lights were on. Just a few thoughts really went through my mind. The first was I remember just looking up to the sky and just saying, I know you are with me today, in reference to my gran, who'd been a big part of who I've become over the years before she sadly passed away. It's actually quite difficult to put into words just what I felt crossing the finishing line. And I knew my mum would be there, but I hadn't expected that my dad and my wife Kim and little baby boy Harrison would be there. And I remember just coming over the line, physically exhausted, and then just the emotions came out and there was tears welling up. It was incredible to have my family there because they've been a big part of this. This hasn't just been about me. Yes, ultimately I was the one who got on the bike and did this crazy challenge, but none of that would have been possible without all of their love and support along the way.